Howdy, hey. So it's been a little while. Sorry about disappearing and dying and falling off the face of the earth a little bit. But a mixture of personal problems, medical problems, and generally life being kind of busy because, life gets busy. I've not been able to post many videos. I've been posting plenty of art and stuff on my other accounts, which you should follow if you haven't, because I post much more frequently on there when it comes to just my art stuff. But I am back, or at least I should be back. Hopefully, I have more content to make. Most of it is related to my current special interests, which is mostly, if you can tell what the background art is already, is mostly Lego shows, it's mostly Lego shows, which is a plot twist I feel like nobody saw coming. It just came at me out of literal nowhere. One day, I am a normal human being, then the next, one of my friends had been recommending me Lego Ninjago, and the next, suddenly half of my brain is filled with Legos. But this isn't actually an update video, it's actually a theory video technically, because if you didn't know, Season 5 of LMK should be coming out relatively soon. There has been a new Lego set drop. One of the characters kind of hinted at is Nua. I don't think I'm saying her name right, and I'm really sorry for that. I'm so sorry, Nua. You deserve better, but unfortunately, But anyway, it seems like there's going to be Season 5 dropping soon, so I kind of wanted to get my little theory video out here before, it comes and it disproves everything I'm about to say, quite frankly, because we know that it's just going to disprove everything I say, but I'm going to give my 2 cents, what I think would be interesting, and I'm just going to, pretty much just talk about LMK really quickly, because I want to, and, I'm hoping this finds the right audience, generally. So, my big theory for this season, quite frankly, is that I think, and a lot of people do think this, I'm not going to say that I'm the first one to think this up, but I think that MK is not going to necessarily go through a villain arc, but I do think he's going to go through a kind of corruption arc. Reason number one for this is Nuwa herself. I did mention her for a reason, because Nuwa is the goddess, she's the goddess of fertility, life, but she's also, from my limited research, she's also the goddess of order, and we heard MK called, spoiler alert by the way, major spoiler alerts, just a warning now. We heard Ink MK call RMK, that's what I'm gonna call them, the harbinger of chaos. And chaos is the opposite of order. So to me, it makes sense that Nuwa might come in if MK starts fulfilling that harbinger of chaos label. I don't know. I think that could be kind of interesting. Reason number 2 is I think it's kind of been hinted at through some of the visuals in Season 4. Again, spoilers. And in past seasons, I think, as well. So the next thing is there is a shot in Season 4 where MK and the gang, they have Yellow Tusk locked up or whatever, and they're sending him to wherever they send him to lock him up. And he basically realizes they're heroes, mentions, I can't remember the word for word, but he's like, yeah, I realize you are true heroes, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the thing that is weird is the fact that MK isn't in that shot. Everybody else is, but MK is not. You cannot see him. He is there, but he is off screen, and I think that's, when it comes to art, when it comes to animated shows, things like that typically have a meaning to them. Now another thing, visually, that I think I find very interesting is actually something from all the way back in Season 1. So, Season 1, there's a couple things that I think have been a little bit retconned, but this is something I noticed. So, all the way back in Season 1, Monkey King kind of locked away part of MK's invincibility, right? And some of his power because, you know, he was having trouble managing it. Now, they've never explicitly said that MK got that power back. Now, it could have been insinuated. I think it could go either way. I think it's perfectly fine if it just stays insinuated because it works for the series. But it could also be something interesting because in that scene, I'll see if I can find it, but in that scene, you can see the circlet that Monkey King wears appear around his head. And if you don't know what Monkey King's circlet is, basically it was this thing used to keep Monkey King under control. Tripitaka would recite this spell, and it would make the circlet shrink on Monkey King's head and put him in a lot of pain. You can do more research on it if you want to. I really suggest reading Journey to the West because it's genuinely really funny. Like, it's actually hilarious. I might talk about Journey to the West itself here someday. Or if you just want to read the abridged version, go watch Overly Sarcastic Productions' Journey to the West. They do a pretty good job going through the story. They miss a couple things, but I think that overall they do a fantastic job. Anyway, moving on. That circlet, I think, because number one, I think it would be very interesting, the circlet, if they actually used that little gold thing that they did in season 1 and brought it back, because LEGO shows are oftentimes really good at Chekhov's gun, and I think that if they wanted to, that could be a fantastic Chekhov's gun. Having it come back to be that can actually be used as the circlet, like the one that Monkey King wore, because we actually see in the show, the circlet seems to have been put on differently, because the Journey to the West in the show seems slightly different from the one in our world, but that's a whole other video, probably, and maybe I'll make it. I'm just saying, maybe I'll make it. I probably will, because I really like this show. But I think it would be really interesting if in season 5, there was an arc with MK getting corrupted somehow. Now, the biggest way I could see MK getting corrupted, the easiest way that I could see him wanting, needing, blah, 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 whatever, going down a corruption arc, is if somebody died. And I know that's really morbid, and I know that's really dark, but we have to remember, you don't have to this world, death isn't always permanent. We know that you can go down into the underworld, and I genuinely think that there are some insinuations with the underworld somehow being involved with, like, the dark figures in hell. I definitely think it's possible that the underworld could be involved, and I think somebody could die. And if somebody were to die, I'm gonna be honest, I think it would be Pigsy. I'm so sorry, Pigsy, but it's the god honest truth. And if MK were to go down the corruption arc, I think what would have to happen, I think they need to go through this whole, like, discussion about whether they should use the circlet on him. I think it could be really interesting because not only would Monkey King have to struggle with his feelings about it, he'd be like, I know how much pain the circlet caused me. I know how awful that was and how awful it was to feel that trapped. Do I want to do that to MK, even though I know it might be the only way to stop him, or do I want to do something else? And then another thing would be, the only person other than Guanyin and the Buddha, and I think they're the only people, the only other person who could control the circlet was Tripitaka. And Tang, aka MK's, pretty much his father figure, one of his other father figures at this point, because he's the reincarnation of Tripitaka, might have to be the one to use the circlet spell. So it would also, Tang would probably have an arc. And is this kind of my need and my want for a Tang season because he's my favorite character? Yes. Yes, it is. But you want to know what? who's gonna stop me from hoping? The show is, but nonetheless, I think it would be a really interesting plot if they decided to go that route. Obviously, I don't know what they're doing, but it looks like it could be really interesting, especially with Nuwa as of all people being one of the characters to come in. And one thing I am a little bit surprised about is the fact that Erlang Shen and Guanyin have not even really been mentioned yet. The Jade Emperor and Nasha are there, but interestingly, Guanyin, who was a very major character in Journey to the West, and Erlang Shen, who also had a pretty big impact on the plot, neither of them have really showed face yet, which I find really interesting. But I don't know, maybe it's nothing. This was honestly just a fun little short theory thing I wanted to do. And I don't really know if any of this stuff is really going to hold any water when we actually get the season. But I don't know. I just wanted to throw some ideas out there as to what they could be doing. And yeah, I really do find it interesting that Erlang Shen and Guanyin haven't really appeared yet. Like, I don't know. I just find it to be a very interesting decision when both of them were pretty, like they were very much so there in the plot of Journey to the West, and they haven't really showed face yet. And it's surprising that, honestly, Macaque, who came in later to the plot, and honestly in the original had less impact, I'd say, came in before Guanyin or Erlang Shen or, all those people. Because in the original plot, Macaque is kind of like is a little bit of a one-and-done character. There are insinuations to his existence earlier in the book, but overall, I'd personally say he's not, as major of a character as, say, Guanyin. And honestly, I'm very surprised that all of the pilgrims and stuff have been mentioned, but Guanyin, who helps them multiple times on their journey, and who, picked out Tripitaka for the journey, I'm really surprised she hasn't been mentioned yet. I just find it very interesting, and I don't know, I hope she'll be brought in eventually. And honestly, I think if she's brought in, I think her and Erlang Shen appearing at the same time in the show and coming in at the same time, or same season, whatever, or same whatever, I think them coming in at the same time would make very good narrative sense because they're kind of opposites in the original Journey to the West. Now, I'm not a philosopher or I don't study this, but in the original Journey to the West, Guanyin is very much so about, people can change, they deserve the chance to change, which is, she gives all the pilgrims, minus Tripitaka, who's already, holy and stuff, but it's literally about giving them, a second chance. Meanwhile, Erlang Shen burns down a mountain of innocent monkeys. He's a very interesting character. His decisions are, they're quite something. He does more stuff, but, but I don't know. I feel like when it comes to the plot, they can very much so easily be seen as opposites, and I'm assuming eventually they're gonna come into play. I find it kind of weird if they didn't, because they are pretty big characters. I don't know. I do think it's kind of funny that Nasha showed up before Erlang Shen or Guanyin. I don't know. Honestly, the show is just so fun, and I'm having such a good time, and I really like it, and I honestly can't wait to see what they do with season 5. I hope it's good. I am out here praying. I cannot handle a bad season. So yeah, that's it for now. Feel free to subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Go follow me on my other social media, which will be in the description and at the end card. And basically, go watch LMK if you haven't already. Sorry for spoiling some stuff. And I think that I hope that season 5 will be good. Also, I will probably be doing more discussions on LEGO shows, LMK, but also Ninjago, because I'm gonna be out here doing some work, because I need to convince y'all to read the Garmadon comics, so that'll be a whole other thing. So yeah, that's all for now. I hope you'll have a great day. Bye-bye!